Hello, everyone.
Hello,
Hi, Alexandra.
hello.
Hi, how are
Hey.
you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm good. Thank you.
I'm so excited. So we were supposed to go live, but we don't want any technical surprises. So we went safe on Zoom recording, and we're gonna share it immediately. So it's almost like a live, almost
Yes,
fresh from
feel
the
free to
oven.
put your questions and comments below and we'll answer them.
Yeah, it's almost fresh from the oven, definitely. So today we want to talk about something that not many people talk about, right? UTI infections is almost like a shameful subject, but it's just a condition like a shoulder pain or elbows or broken hip, whatever. So Cindy is gonna educate us with her expertise on nutrition and how we can help battle and prevent and even heal from it. And then I'm going to talk the technical body anatomy issues with the pelvic floor muscles down there and what aggravates it and how we can prevent these UTIs. UTI is a urine um,
Urinary tract infection.
tract infection. That's right. Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, some people have chronic infections, usually when it starts, because like to be honest, that area should be very sterile. There should not be bacteria in the bladder and the urinary tract. But sometimes the way we wipe, how we have contact with it, our hygiene, it could create some bacteria. And once that happens, if you're not careful with your diet, there's many factors. If you've been on antibiotics, your system might be a little weaker, and then you might have these chronic reoccurrence of urinary tract infections. So one main thing I would say is try to cut out sugar for a period of time to really lower the bacteria, the yeast in the body, the candida in the body, and alcohol, of course. And there are some supplements out there that you don't have to go to antibiotics yet. You can try the supplements, to kind of kill them off. And depending on how severe it is, you can introduce more garlic. There's even raw garlic, especially, is a lot more potent, right? Alexandra, have you ever had raw garlic just
I
like
love it.
that?
When
You
I
do?
sometimes when I was in my busiest mom times, I would just really swallow one when I was feeling like I was going down the weather, like
You
a sore
actually,
throat.
really? You swallow an entire
No,
garlic
no,
clove?
no, no, not entire, like maybe a quarter. My favorite thing is have a toast with feta, spread the feta with olive oil, and then crush the garlic in there and just eat it.
Mm. You know what's so funny? One of my clients said that they liked when they were younger, their mom used to put garlic in apples and they would chew on the apple and have the garlic. And then another person in my class said they did it with cheese, garlic, apple, and cheese. So a bite of
That
garlic, a bite of apple, a bite of cheese.
that's a little better, I would think. Cheese and garlic
Yeah.
go better with an apple.
I
Yeah,
think you just need something to protect your stomach because it is so
yeah.
potent, it burns.
Yes, yes, yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Another thing you can do is, of course, you have to drink lots of water during that time to kind of flush everything out. But there is an ingredient in cranberries that are very useful to prevent the bacteria from sticking onto your bladder wall or urinary tract wall.
Okay.
So it's called D-mannose. And it's a supplement also that you can take to kind of inhibit the bacteria from adhering. There you go. You're
Is
going to
the
show us the
walls?
anatomy of the bladder.
These are
So
the
yeah,
walls? Yeah.
yes. And then yeah, you just drink lots of water and flush it out as you take the D-mannose. And of course, having some good probiotics will help too to just balance out that good and bad bacteria in your urinary tract. But yeah, since you showed us this bladder, I do have a question about how you can help sort of, when someone that's going through these infections, what are some risks that they can have if they're not able to empty out their bladder? Like, how does that, affect the
That's anatomically
reoccurrence?
speaking and biomechanically speaking. There is other factors than just nutrition and lack of, hydration. Obviously, a lot of people forget to drink water, right?
Mhm.
Other things is also being, not mobile and like spending hours and hours seated in your office. That also affects your bladder health because the bladder is sitting exactly behind your pubic bone and there's all these organs that constantly pressing on it, and if your posture is not ideal, you're adding a lot more pressure in the bladder, and what happens then, your muscles go weak, and then you either need to go frequently, which is one of the symptoms of UTI, right? Your body is trying to flush quickly the germs and the infection. And so it makes you have that sensation that you need to go. But is it always a matter of emptying the bladder, or is it just that inflammation and irritation? So when you really need to go, you really need to focus on emptying the bladder. So there is ways that if you, for example, if you are not at home, you're not working from home and you need to use public toilets, a lot of us women, right? I am guilty. I squat in the air. I have been doing this for so long, and I realize actually it's not doing me any favor. So why squatting in the air in our public toilets is not safe? First of all, it's safer for your bladder to actually put toilet paper and sit on it than you thinking you're going to catch all the germs in the world just because the surface of your thigh touch. So why? So every time we are squatting that high, it's not like a deep squat. Your knees are lower than your hips. The good squat to release completely your bladder and release completely your pelvic floor muscles from tensing, which means when they're tensing, you're not able to fully empty your bladder. Ideally, you want your knees to be higher than your hips for that. So when your hips are much higher than your knees, your muscles contracting down there. You are automatically tensing. It's almost impossible unless you have the thighs of Iron Man, you know, yeah, and knees of, solid knees. Your pelvic floor is holding on to dear life. So it's tensing. That means your bladder is not emptying fully. So some of it might be staying, and that causes future infections and bacteria growth. Another thing is if you're going too often, frequently, that means also that you don't have time to flush completely the whole pack. So if you're going more often than every 2 hours, it's not the best. And if you are holding it and squeezing constantly so that you can manage to 4 hours because you are stressed, you're out and about, you don't have the toilets around and you're tensing, also that can harm your bladder health. So there is like a fine balance to, anatomically speaking, emptying fully and then checking your posture. And of course, there's other conditions that can infect your bladder health, like organ prolapse. So you see behind your bladder, there is our uterus and the bowel system, the bowel and all the digestion. And so if the muscles are weak and some of these organs have repositioned themselves after traumatic childbirth or just big babies and whatever other anatomy issues, this also affects your bladder health. So there's a lot of factors, but for sure, hygiene, you being scared to sit in the toilet can add more pressure and more tension in your pelvic floor muscles. So in result, you're not able to empty fully your bladder and then bacteria grows. Is that answering your question, Cindy?
Yeah, that does help. How to lower the risk of the reoccurrence by the
Yeah.
posture, by not having to contract so much on top of the toilet seat. Is there any harm that's done if you want to hold your urine for a longer period of time? Some people say, it's not good for your bladder. Is it true, or is it just the pelvic floor muscles that are being harmed?
It's both, actually. It's both. So if you are constantly tensing, which we were talking about earlier, so it's like you are holding a tight fist for the whole day. Okay, you wake up, you're squeezing your fist all day long, and at night you're like, oh, I can't do it anymore, and your hand is just like jello. It's like you have zero energy to even hold a knife and cut, because you are tensing the whole time. It's the same with your pelvic floor muscles. If you are under stress and you're constantly tensing down there, because stress factors, life factors tend to do that. We don't even realize it. You not having access to the toilet and and really doing your kegels or whatever you think you're doing, you're actually putting more pressure into that section. And it's better to have healthy bladder habits. It's better to go frequently than delaying it. I believe that it's better to go as often as you can than holding it and causing more harm. Does
That
that?
sounds that sounds right. I mean,
Yeah.
I think you should just go with your body, right? Your natural
Yeah.
instincts. When it feels natural, that's when it's time to go. But does it operate the same way as, let's say, the gut muscles? You know how like there's peristalsis, which is the muscle for your colon. When you feel the urge to have a bowel movement,
You need to
if you
go.
suppress that, if you don't go and you suppress it, it gets a bit lazier. But
Yeah.
does that happen with the bladder muscles too, or the bladder environment too?
No, no, bladder never gets lazier. It only is the pelvic floor muscles that get weaker. So the longer you prolong, the longer you hold, the longer you're squeezing, like I said, with the hand, the longer you're holding tight not to pee, the more weak your muscles are going to get there. And then you start having the accidents. And then you start peeing when you sneeze. That's what this happens because you were putting more tension than necessary down there. So eventually the muscles go weak.
Yeah, that's good information. Yeah,
Yeah,
good to, because oftentimes when we think of squatting, like I often think that it's like when you do the chair pose against the wall, you're
yeah,
strengthening the muscle. So you're thinking that if I'm contracting more, if I'm holding on to it, if I'm squatting in that position, I'm actually strengthening it. But it's the opposite because you're doing too much contraction and you're not allowing the urine to be emptied properly, and then you're tiring out those muscles. So I guess it's very important to learn how to relax, how to fully extend the muscles, just like we would with stretching our muscles and our
yeah,
arms and our legs.
exactly. And we talk about that in module 5, right? Cozy Pilates. We talk about how important it is to really relax the deep pelvic floor muscles and really have, like in yoga, you can just totally relax with the open, is it butterfly? I call it the open bridge elevator. So this is the exercise I love the most to be aware when you're tensing and when you're relaxing. And I love that metaphor with the elevator doors. So yeah, that's 100% very necessary exercise. It takes like 5-10 minutes max
Mhm.
to do.
Yeah,
And I wanted to ask you about the cranberry. So I love Thanksgiving meals and Christmas, and I love to buy the frozen raw cranberries. The way they come in the fresh bag, there's not even a brand. It's just like
yes.
loofah delivered.
Oh,
So
those are great.
I make it last as long as I can. I just cook it raw with a little bit of maple syrup and water and just let it shimmer. So does this have any therapeutic nutrients? Does it help with UTIs?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes. Use that. It's an antibacterial properties. It has vitamin C, which is also really great for your immune health. So
yeah,
definitely do it that way. That's wonderful. I mean, for those of you who feel like there may be too much sugar, if you really need to be very careful with that, you
yeah,
can look at supplements like cranberry extracts or just the pure D mannose extract supplements. That could also help with a good probiotic.
yeah.
So yeah, yeah, that's wonderful though. If you get
For
it
sure.
naturally, you can
Yeah, yeah,
extract it that
because
way.
all the cranberry juice I have been looking for, they have so much sugar because there's tangy, sour, the fruit is very sour. So you just like really want to people tend to put a lot of sugar to make it balance, but actually you want that. You want that sourness,
That's
right? That's
tartness, that sourness. Yes,
exactly.
that's the active ingredient, that bitter tart taste.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you could look for unsweetened cranberry juice, although it's harder to find in regular stores. It's
Very
more
hard.
in health food stores they may have for like I think the latest one that I've seen was about it's over $10 for a jar, but
Yeah,
like it's the pure
crazy.
thing. Yeah, it doesn't have any
Yeah.
sugar added. Yeah.
And another question for you. So, someone who suffers from chronic UTIs, and they're not able to cut down on the sugars, is there like what other solutions are there for them, nutrition wise? And like,
Well, I would look at what is triggering it. So if there's an imbalance of bacteria, you could add more probiotics. So add some healthy bacteria. There are some that have cranberry extracts in. If you've noticed now, there's so many different brands of probiotics. There's brands for yeast infections,
yeah.
there's prostate health, there's mental health, there's all sorts. Even
Ooh,
weight loss, probiotics for weight loss.
it's
So
juicy.
depending on the strains of the bacteria and what they add in, you can actually get a very nice blend of probiotics that's targeted for the urinary tract. So I would suggest doing that with the cranberry extract, and also practice hygiene, practice that those muscles so that they're able to empty out their bladder
Yeah,
properly.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, There are for me like ways that you can kill off pathogenic bacteria without antibiotics, but don't try for too long. Like you don't want to
Yeah.
delay it. If it doesn't
Okay.
work for you because it's
Yeah.
really extreme, then you have no choice but to take the antibiotics.
Okay.
But but as long as after you finish the antibiotics, you rebuild that microbiome back. You
Yeah, yeah.
rebuild, yeah, with healthy bacteria.
Two more questions. Oh, I'm so excited to have you here. So, what do you think about colloidal silver, and what's your advice for parasite cleaning? If UTI, it could be like some kind of parasite living in there and they're having a party. So, what do you think about this too? Would you recommend it to someone?
If it's if it's targeted to the urinary tract, I'm not sure. Like, I mean, for sure, parasite cleanse overall is a good idea because we're exposed to different types of parasites, even if we're not living in a third world country. If we have contact with
Sushi.
dogs, if we're in ever swam in a lake, if we've ever had a buffet with people touching it and sushi, for example, or pork. I mean, it's very, very common to have
Yeah.
parasites. So I would suggest that as a overall cleanse for your gut health. And also, parasites can live in the biofilm in any organs. It's not just in the gut, but it could be in different parts too.
Mm,
But if you're targeted at a bacteria, then I'm not sure that, that is as targeted. It's just like
okay.
a wide spectrum.
Why?
For the colloidal silver, I've heard of a lot of antiviral, sort of antimicrobial effects for colloidal silver. I mean, you can try it, but it isn't listed as one of the key targeted supplements for urinary tract infections.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I,
I'm
I would
glad.
suggest, yeah, I would suggest that if you are somebody who has chronic infections in general, really to boost your immune health,
Yeah.
vitamin C, zinc, cut out the sugar and the alcohol.
Posture, check your posture.
Yes.
Like I was explaining earlier to Cindy, like if you are tending to have a out anterior tilt, you see where the bladder is, you're pressing on it from all directions. Your pubic bone is pressing on it, then all the other organs are pressing on it, your spine, your gut, everything. And if you are the other way around as well, is like going down and getting disconnected from the protection shield of the pubic bone. So you really need to have like that nice, perfect structure, head, ribs, hips, so that your bladder doesn't have so much extra pressure
Yeah,
on top of
I
fighting
agree.
infection, right? So yeah.
Yep. That's great. Yeah, those are wonderful tips.
Yeah, Cindy, we nailed it. And
Thank you so much. That was really
so
great. And it's so
probiotics.
nice. Sorry, go ahead.
Do you want to recap your suggestions?
Sure. If you're someone who has recurring UTIs and you want to lower those recurrence or prevent them from happening, you can cut out sugar and alcohol for a period of time to lower the amount of candida and yeast growth in the body. Definitely take a good probiotic. Get something that has cranberry extract, D-mannose, maybe add some more raw garlic into your day. And
Yeah,
vitamin C is great. Vitamin C, amazing. And also keep hydration going. Keep it
yeah,
flowing, keep it
flush,
flushing.
flush, flush. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Fantastic. And on my side, if you're out and about in the public toilets, please just cover the seat and sit on it. It's better that your knees come on the same height than your hips, and you can release that tension and empty fully your bladders. Posture wise, at your desk, standing, cooking, whatever you are, realign yourself, assess your position. My head is on top of my ribs on top of my hips, and then play a little bit with this pelvic tilts and see which one gives you some relief. And yeah, I would definitely go and see a pelvic floor specialist if you feel some heaviness in there, like an organ prolapse. For sure, you need to see someone if you feel that extra heaviness that puts that pressure in your bladder and is not able to fully empty. That means it's been shaped, it's crashed, it's squashed. So it's definitely worth to check on that.
And if you need more help, you could definitely check out our 6-week program because we cover the gut health part by lowering the glycemic index and cutting out these microbes that are harmful to us, and then also talk about supplements and hydration. And then on your side, you have videos there to help people become more mindful and do all of these pelvic floor exercises.
Yeah, especially my week 3, I dedicated to bladder and bowel health. So I go there, I talk about it. Farting and pain is all in there. So with the help of Cindy and nutrition-wise and gut health, I think we have the perfect package. So if you want to learn more, educate yourselves, we're going to have some crazy Black Friday deals very soon on our gut and pelvic health.
Yeah, look out for the links around this video, somewhere
Yes,
below or around this video.
fantastic. Thank you guys for your full attention. Thank you, Cindy.
Thanks, Alexandra. Have a wonderful day.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.